Okay. So just to start again. So the Mishnah said that if he sells it, but it's not a full sale, right? So then it's not considered umachari to be umchayev dalet vehei because it's not a full sale. And now the question was, what's considered that it's not a full sale? When we say that he left over something from the sale, so Rav says that the thing that he left over, meaning the part that was not sold, has to be an integral. How do you call it? A real part of the behemoth, something which was niter b'shchita. In other words, a foot, a hand, even if it's not a evishan neshama tluya boy, but it has to be a real part of the behemoth that becomes niter b'shchita. And only when he leaves over something like that is that considered that he didn't sell the full behemoth. But if let's say he sells the whole behemoth and just leaves over the horns, or if he leaves over the wool that doesn't get sold, so that's not really considered enough of a part of the behemoth that it should disturb. It should be considered that he didn't sell the full behemoth. So that was a Rav. So that was, let me talk about highlight it. It's a good idea. The Shitas. So here's Rav. Rav says that when we say that he leaves over something and it's considered a shiur, it's considered not selling the full behemoth, that's only if he left over davar haniter imoy b'shchita. Levi is the second shita, and he says even chutz migizoy sel. Doesn't say the word afilu, but that's really what it is. That even chutz migizoy sel, even if he leaves over just the wool that's going to be shared for the behemoth, meaning he sold the whole behemoth. He says you could take it. He sells it to the kone, to the one who buys it. He sells him the full behemoth. Just after later, I'm going to take the wool of the behemoth. Even that's already considered that he didn't sell the full behemoth, and he's not going to be chayev dalad vehe. Then we wrote a brisa, and the first Tana says, well, it starts off, chutz mi yoda, chutz mi ragla, chutz mi, but it also says, if he left over chutz mi karno and chutz mi gizoy sel, that's the main thing over here. Even chutz mi karna and chutz mi gizoy sel, it's also not considered. He doesn't have to pay the aldehay, meaning it's not considered a full sale. So this is an according with Levi, not according with Rav. This is according with Levi. And then there was a second, two more shitas, sorry. Rebbe says, Davar ha'ma'akev b'shchita. Now, Davar ha'ma'akev b'shchita, sometimes we could confuse it with Davar ha'niterim b'shchita, but it's not the same thing. Davar ha'niterim b'shchita includes an arm, a leg, anything, any part of the meat which becomes niter b'shchita. This second sheet over here says Davar ha'ma'akev b'shchita means something which will make the behemoth a treifa. Only if it's a kone, a veshet, something which will make it a treifa. But just a little piece of meat, one kazayas of meat, won't be considered a shiur according to Rebbe. According to Rav, that is considered a shiur. So that's the second sheet over here. And then the third sheet in the brisa is that chutz mikarna is einam. How do I do this here? Chutz mikarna is einam mishalim tashlum Bava Kamma. Chutz migizei sel is yes. There's a difference between the keren and the giza. So this is similar to Levi. Levi says even chutz migiza sel. He says no, the giza that much you just soon the Gemara is going to explain. You get only to be cut off, and it's not even part. That's not considered a shiur. But chutz from the keren, that is considered a shiur. So now again, what do we have over here? We have the first shita is a like Levi. That chutz from the keren and chutz from the giza is ein mishalim tashlum Bava Kamma. That's like Levi that says chutz migiza sel is enough to be considered a shiur. The second on the Omar is even more machmir than Rav, so that's not. And the third one is differentiating between Keren and Giza. So Levi says, so the Gemara says, Bishlam and Levi comes out like the Tanakama. But the Rav, Kaman. Because the other Tanoim said that even if you leave over either the Keren or the Giza, it's not considered a sale. And Rav said that that would be considered a full sale. And Rebbe, he's even more than Rav, because he says that only if you leave over Davar Ma'akev b'shchita. But he wasn't. Rav says that even less than that, Davar Hanitarim b'shchita is considered. So we don't know where to put Rav in this brisa. And so the Gemara finds a fourth Tana, which is also the same name. Again, Reb Shimon ben Elazar. And he says, one second. That's considered a shiur. Wow. Okay. Wait, I'm sorry about that. So okay, wrong here. Whatever. Not working. Okay. It's money and he's having bills out, but now he still has like 6.5 left. And he tries to spend 1 million. And he gets it. He gets it. Five. And then my little guys telling me how to do this guy's inside. חוץ מרגלו אינו משלם תשלומי בבא חמישה. חוץ מכאן או חוץ מגיזי sell, he is משלם. So that's an according to Rav. So Lamaisa, we have 4 shitas, 4 or 5, 4 shitas. With the most, I'm not sure if it's Mekel or Machmer, the one who holds that you have to leave over something mamish part of the animal, that's Rebbe. He holds that only if you leave over something which makes the animal a treifa. Right. That's Rebbe. Rav is a little bit less. He says, no, it doesn't have to be a part of the animal that makes it a treifa, but it has to be a part of the animal that becomes mutter b'shchita, the hainu part of the meat of the animal. Then we have one, and there's also Rav Shimon ben Elazar that says like Rav. Then we have the other Rav Shimon ben Elazar that says that you have to leave over the keren, like the horn, but leaving over the giza not is not considered a shiur. And then we have Levi that he says even further that even leaving over just the giza, just the wool, that's also considered shiur. So there's 4 shitas and levels of how much they have to leave over that it shouldn't be considered a full sale. And then the Gemara goes and explains 2 pratim. First of all, the Gemara wants to understand what's the difference between the horn and the giza, which I already said, because the horn is a part of the animal, whereas the giza, with the wool, you're gonna cut off. And then the Gemara had another problem that there was 2 Reb Shimon ben Elazar over here. We read one Reb Shimon ben Elazar saying that chutz mikarno, that chutz migiza says misham teshum bava chamisha. So it's not considered shiur. And over here, this Reb Shimon Elazar said like Rav, that chutz mikarno, chutz migiza. So we said that there's 2 Reb Shimon Elazars. 2 Tanoim according to Reb Shimon Elazar. So the Ma'aseh there's 4 shitas in the Gemara. That's till I think so we got yesterday. Now comes another brisa, and this is already going to be a little bit interesting. We said umacharo means that he has to sell it, and he sells it a full sale. So that's why if he sells it and he leaves over 1 limb, so that's not considered a full sale. What's going to be the halacha if he stole it when it was already cut off 1 limb, and now he sells that? So mitzad echad, whatever he stole, he sold. Right? He stole an animal with 3 legs, and he sold the whole animal. On the other hand, he didn't really sell a full animal. So that's going to be over here. Tanu Rabbana, hagoinev hakitas. If when he steals it, it already has something chopped off. Or vesachigeres, vesasuma, that it's not full because it's blind. Chen hagoinev behemas hashutvim, that we're going to get to in a minute. Chayav. All those things is considered chayav because even though when he sells it, it was missing a limb, but whatever he stole, he sold. So that's why he's chayav. So hagoinev hakitas, and then I guess kal v'chomer. If it had the limb, it was just wasn't functioning properly. Let's say chigeres, if it was limping, or suma that was blind, or here's another thing: goinev behemas hashutvim chayav. What's the chiddush of goinev behemas hashutvim? That when he steals it, 2 different people own it. So you could say that afterwards, when he sells it, he sold Reuven's half and Shimon's half. So did he really sell the whole behemoth? He sold 1/2 at a time, kaviyachol. So we say no. The Maaseh he sold the whole behemoth, and that's considered umacharo. The shutvim shegonu pturim. 2 people stole it, and then they resell it. That's how we understand in the beginning. So it says they're not chayav dal v'heyam. We'll understand that the reason would be because Reuven and Shimon together steal and sell. So Reuven didn't sell a full behemoth, and Shimon didn't sell a full behemoth. Reuven and Shimon together sold the behemoth. But if you look at each one, they didn't have a full umacharo. So that's why that's what they want to understand in the beginning, that they're pturim, that they're not considered that they sold it, and they're not going to be chayav al v'hei.
I'm sorry,
I want to ask on that.
I'm sorry, I'm missing the difference between next to the last case and the last case. The last case, I understand, they're shutfim, and so maybe they didn't, each one didn't do a full sale. But what's the next to the last case?
So how come when they steal it from shutvim? So we would think that they didn't each stole the mice. No, we say that you stole from 2 people together and sold it. That's considered a full sale.
Oh, I see. The one
You want to
person
know
doing it is the next to the last case. from
You
Shutfim.
want to know why should these be the difference? Why should they be different? If where Shutvim is considered that both together own the full animal, so then that should apply also when Shutvim steal and then resell, and also when someone steals from Shutvim. Is that the question?
I just needed the difference, and now I understand it. Thank you.
Okay, so there is a difference in the case. We might not understand fully the difference, why they're different, but that's okay. So goyne behemoths are Shutvim chayev, and Shutvim shegonvu pturim. So the Gemara asks, but there's a brayse that says differently. There's a brayse that says that Shutvim shegonvu chayovim, that if two people, Reuben and Shimon, together go and steal and then resell, so they are going to be chayev dalad v'hei. And that's how Rav Nachman the Maisa answers it. Omar Rav Nachman loy kashyo. Kan b'shutev shegonav mei chaveiro, kan b'shutev shegonav mei alma. And we'll explain that two shutfim that go together and steal an animal and then resell it, so it's considered that they stole and sold the entire behemoth. It's true. If we would zoom in to each one by himself, we would say, hey, well, he only owns 50% of this stealing and reselling. Okay, but both of them together stole a full behemoth and sold it. And the same applies, we saw in the ratio of the Raisa. If one person goes and he steals from Shutvim and resells it, so that's also considered that he stole the full behemoth and sold it. What's the case that it says Shutvim Shigon, who is Pturim, that it's not considered a full sale? Over there, it's talking about two people that were partners in a behemoth, Ruvain and Shimon. And then Ruvain owns his half, right? And he steals Shimon's half and now sells the behemoth. So really, when he's selling the behemoth, half of what he's selling is his own behemoth. It's not something which was stolen. The other half is something that he stole and resold. So in that case, we're talking going to say that it's not considered that he stole and sold a full behemoth. In other words, when two shutim go together and steal someone else's behemoth, that's what we call over here shutiv.
Excuse me, you have to unmute yourself again. Please unmute yourself. Thank you.
Let me also share the screen again then. How do I do that? 1 second just. What happened? I don't know what happened. Bye bye. Oh boy. Is the screen shared?
Not at this moment, no.
So let me do that 1 second.
She's Jewish. She's not.
Okay.
Very good.
Let's say there. I'm sorry, I missed it. What was I saying?
I was asking about
right.
if they steal, do they have to do simultaneously? They each make the Kenyan at
Or when one person makes a kinyan, he can make it for both of them.
yeah. It's a big
Can be.
He's always calling when he picks up with every things they call the whole.
So it's a very good question. And the Gemara at the end is going to talk about, I guess, even a more complex. What's that? That's what you would assume. But we're going to find out over here there's an exception to the rule. Let's say we spoke about two shutim that sold. How about two shutim which are toveach? How do they both do the shechita at the same time? Only one doing the shechita, they're both holding the knife. But there is such a case. But in the end, the Gemara is going to say that over here there's a special chiddush that two people could do it together. I'll spill the beans a little bit. The Gemara says just like every mechira has other people involved. So you can never really do it yourself. So you're always involving other people. And over here, there's a chiddush of the Torah that even though you're involving other people, still there is a chiyuv. So we're gonna take that. So the whole idea of tovach umachar, that tovach umachar you could do even with someone else together. But you're right. The Gemara could have jumped up right over here and saying, "How did?" Oh, well, I guess you could say two people made a kinyan together. Maybe there would be a dichui, but soon you're right. The Gemara is gonna get to that.
That's a simple one. I'm gonna take those. From the bottom.
Why?
Okay.
It's 30 days.
So that was a shoot. Now, next Gemara. This is a new two dots.
I missed the Esvei. What was the point of the Esvei? Did you read the Esvei?
We spoke about when someone sells the behemoth, besides for a certain part of the behemoth, he doesn't do a full sale. He leaves over a foot. We said maybe even if he leaves over the horn, or he leaves over just a certain amount of percentage, 1% that he's not selling. So that's not going to be considered a full sale.
He gives the portion to the Kohen that's already considered. He leaves the leg for the Kohen or something. That would be considered.
Not necessarily a coin. Let's say the Ghana.
He said the Ganesh leaves the. When you do a shita, you're supposed to leave over a portion for him.
But I think if because it's his, he might give it to the coin, but he didn't sell the whole
That's
thing.
a part that's supposed to be left for the Kohen.
Correct, but I don't think that the coin owns it by himself. It's only that the Bailam has to give it to the coin. So if he sold it besides for those portions that later he's planning on giving to the coin, that's not relevant. Because when he sold it, he left over those parts. I think.
Even if he's supposed to leave them on a separate
Uh-huh.
sale.
But over here we're going to talk about, let's say he sold the whole behemoth, but he left over not a certain percentage of the behemoth, but let's say amount of days. He says, listen, I'm selling it to you, and you could have it, but for the next month, I'm still using it. So it belongs to you, but I'm still using it for the next month. It's still by me. In other words, not that he's leaving over a certain either a limb or a certain percentage of the animal itself, but a certain amount of days or amount of work. He says, I'm selling it to you, but for an hour or a day, it's going to work by me. So what I sold to you was the whole behemoth, but for an hour a day or for the next month, it's working by me. Is that also considered that he left over? So we're going to see that that's also considered that he left it over. Or it's a he sold it besides for 30 days. That the next month I'm still working with it. It's yours, but for the next month I'm still working.
Like people buy houses, they don't know you can stay for another half a year. It's okay.
Right. So the child is going to be, is that considered a full sale? Yeah. Well, let's see. He sells it. He tells him, even if you want to now take it to the shlachtos and shecht it, you could do that right now. But if it's still around and it's still choresh, it's still working, so the work that belongs to me. So he sold him the whole behemoth, but he says there's a certain, it's not really a tovas ano, but like a certain aspect of it with the work, that part I'm not selling. Well, let's say it was a pregnant behemoth, and he sells it chutz ubara. This is interesting because this is more similar to what we saw before of chutz gizasa, right? That he sold it besides for the wool. Well, here he sells it besides for the ubar, besides for the baby. Is that considered a full sale or not? And now the Gemara is going to.
The goofer is soap,
That's what we could say. That
and the baby is an extension of the mother, but it doesn't change the mahut of the mother per se. She's still the goof of the cell.
So that's one way to look at it. Or we could say that no, as long as the baby wasn't born yet, so it's sort of part of the mother. And when you left over the baby, so you're leaving over part of the mother. True, it's going to be born and it's going to stand on its own feet, but Kolzman that it wasn't born, it's still on its own. And the Gemara brings in, there's a famous machlokas, which we've had before, which is in principle whether uber yerach imo or uber lav yerach imo. Yerach is
some of the mother.
Correct.
Thigh.
Yerach is the thigh. So literally it's a thigh, but it means like sort of a limb of the mother. Is the uber a yerach imo or not? So that's a machlokas. We had it been a few things. If there's a shor, let's say, which is a paro, which is mazik, So now the person comes and he takes me gufo, right? So does he take only the para, only the cow, or could he also take from the baby? So over here we're gonna talk about both shitas. And the Gemara says as follows: Aliba demand Omar Uber Yerech Imohu, that a Uber is Yerech Imo, Loiti Boyalacha, then you wouldn't have any question. The Hashirba, when he said that he didn't sell the baby, so he's leaving over a part of the mother, because we said that the baby is a Yerech Imo. Kiti Boyalach, when would you have a question? Aliba demand Omar, the Uber Lav Yerech Imo, that the Uber is not a limb of the mother, and then you could still have the question. Chaim David was saying that if we hold Uber Lav Yerachimo, then it's for sure considered a full sale. But the Gemara is going to say it's a question. Why? My Meimer Amrinon, do we say Kivin the Mechuber Ba Havi Shiur? Since even it's true that you consider it as its own entity, but Lamaisa it's part of this package. So you didn't sell what you stole. When you stole, you sold this whole package. This package has different compartments to it, but you didn't sell what you sold, what you stole. You didn't sell what you stole. So Kivin the Mechuber Ba, since it's connected to it, so it's Havi Shiur. O Dilma, Kivin the Lemifresh Minakoi, or maybe since the baby is standing, is omed, to be poresh, to separate from the mother, so lo yavi shiur. It's not considered leftover from the cow when you sold it without the baby. That was the first lashon of the Gemara, that if you hold uber yerach imo, it's for sure considered that you didn't do a full sale. And if you hold uber lav yerach imo is not part of the mother, then you could say it's part of the mother because it's mechuber, or you could say not. Ika the Amri, the other way around. Kiven the lav yerach imoyu loy havi shiur. According to the man, the Omar over lav yerach imo is not part of the mother, so it's for sure considered a full sale. O dilma, no. Kiven the tzarech la shtuye bahado. Sorry, kiven the tzarech leishtaruye bahado b'shchita. Since when you shochet the mother, so the child also becomes muter ba'achila. This is the halacha of ben pekua. The halacha is that this comment was part of the ship.
He's doing the round.
You're going around.
Just for the it's okay. I don't get it. I don't get it. You were hoping he was around.
Oh, Dilma, Kivin the tzarech l'shtaruye b'hada b'shchita command shir b'gufa dami. Meaning, even if we hold lav yarachimo, the halacha is that if someone shochet, if someone slaughters kosherly a para, a cow, and inside there's a live or a baby which was inside, so it becomes muter ba'achila. In other words, he doesn't now have to be shochet the baby inside. This is what's called the halacha of ben pekua, and it's the only time which that looks sort of is there maybe it looks like even menachai. Technically, even when it's alive, you could eat that animal because it's considered that it became mutter b'shchita with the mother.
Oh, the mother
that
died.
Already had shchita. The mother didn't die. Oh well, I guess it did when you were shochet.
You
Yes.
shoched the
Shochet the
mother.
mother, and the baby's alive.
The baby's alive, and you can eat it without.
And you could eat it without shchita. There's a
real ma'isa.
yeah. There's a drasha.
Yeah,
So the Gemara talks about that one.
Such a thing?
There might be a noise of Maris Ayin that once it's already big, once it already landed and it walked on the ground, so people won't realize. And then there's a machlokas in the Mishnah from when exactly you goes there for Maris Ayin. But according to principle, it becomes mutar ba'achila, even if it's alive.
They said have him shot them, right? Yosef and being accused of brothers and like
And it was mefarcheses, I think. I think that was after the shchita, when it still had some life. I think that was, and because that's something that for a goy is mutter, for a goy it's also, and for a yid it's mutter.
Well,
But that's mefachesa. That's something that over here ben pekua, so it becomes mutter. So Gemara says that even if we all will lav yarachimoi, I'm not sure why it says even the tzarech lishtaruye bahada b'shchita. It should say like since it does become mutter b'shchita, so it's considered part of the mother. Command is sheer begufa dami, even if you all will lav yarachimoi. But for certain aspects, it's part of the mother, either because it's mechuber, we said, or because it becomes mutter b'shchita, and that's why if you didn't sell the baby, even if you hold over lav yerachimoy, it might not be considered a full sale. Teiko. Okay. Fine. 2 dots. A new shaila based on what we learned till now. We said that if someone steals and then sells it besides for the foot, let's say, so it's not considered a full mechira because you didn't sell the whole animal. You stole the behemoth and you sold it, only missing a part. We also said if someone, let's say, steals an animal that already has its foot cut off, right? It was already katua, and then he resells that. That is considered a full sale because whatever you stole, you now sold. The Gemara now is going to ask the question: what's going to be the halacha if he stole an animal, he cut off the foot and burnt it? I don't know what happened to it, and now he resells kol mashiyesh, whatever is still around, he's selling. So mitzad echad, he didn't sell everything he stole. He stole a full animal and he only sold 90% of it. On the other hand, he stole, and whatever is around of it, he sold. So maybe that is considered a full sale. So that's the Gemara's shaila. Boy Rav Papa. Rav Papa asks the shaila. Gonva, he steals the animal. Kota, he cuts off. He chopped off that limb, that part. And then umachara, he sells it. Now, mi amrinan, do we say, my the gonav, what he stole, hello zavin. He didn't sell the whole entire thing because he was missing a limb. Odilma, ma the zavin, from his mechira, haloishir, he didn't leave anything over for himself. Whatever was still around, he sold. So the sale was a full sale, kaviyachol, of whatever is around. Teku, so that's a question, if that would be considered a full sale or not. Okay. It's all interesting, all these kind of aspects in Mechorim.
I thought in this case for sure it would be that
He didn't sell it
Yeah.
because on Maisa,
because he
I would think that's a short sale, because he's the one who made the shoe, he made the new animal.
Right. I see that.
what? So there's a question.
I'm arguing. That's good.
Very
good. Very good. That's good.
I was mistapek. What's the right way?
I'll see you after class. Okay.
All right.
Don't get violent. No chopping off.
It's not worth it.
No, it's not no potos.
That worth it.
Okay. Chano Rabbanan.
That's good. Are you coming from me? Oh, that's good.
Someone's gonna take a chair tomorrow.
Gonav.
See him at one.
Oh, right, I forgot. What's it called?
See him.
Gonav. Someone stole. V'nosan la'acher v'tovach. He stole it and he gave it to his friend to be shochet for him. We know usually someone steals it and then he himself goes and sells it. He himself goes and he's toveach. This is to what Dr. Fan was talking about. What's going to happen? He steals it and he says, "Okay, you want to please shech that for me?" Is that going to be considered that the ganav was toveach or not? It's a little bit totally like ein shliach l'dvar avera, right? Something similar. Okay. So there's gonav v'nosan la'acher v'tovach, or case number 2, gonav v'nosan la'acher u'mochar. He gives it to someone else to go and sell it for him. There's gonna be a whole bunch of cases here. More. Gonav v'higdish. Instead of selling it, this we actually had, we mentioned before, instead of selling it, he was magdish it, he gave it to hegdish. So is that also considered like a mochar? The other day we said that it is, because that itself is the Yitziyah Mershusay. But here's the brayz about Gonav v'higdish, what's the halacha? How about Gonav? In a new case, Gonav, he steals it, and instead of selling it and getting money for it, he stole it v'hikif. Hikif means hakafa, like they have today also in the store, that you sell it for credit. Meaning he sold it, but he didn't get $100 for it. The guy said, "I'll pay you when I'll owe you the $100." So is that considered a sale, a full sale? He sold it, but he didn't really get the money in return. He got the the hitchayvut that the guy's gonna pay him. None of
I
vehicle.
learned already that's account.
It's not.
Doesn't count.
Check. It's not money.
So it's not money, correct? But it might be considered a sale.
I would think it's the same, yeah. It does agree.
Or is this a financial
Transaction.
We're not talking about the hakafa, about the check itself, if you could use it for pidyon b'chor or something.
You pay it off in 10
That would be considered a sale.
Kinyan is when you pick it up. So you take it from the stencil, that's an actual.
So you have to pay.
Right.
Okay, but let's say he didn't actually pay. He says I have to pay, and he made the kinyan. So today it's considered a sale. So the gonna have a hikif.
But today, everybody, Tashlum also, you pay it off. You're using it, 10 months later, you finally
You'll pay
pay
it. So that would be, you're saying it would be considered a sale.
think
That's what
so.
the Gemara is going to say. Gonna vehichlef. This is Ari. This is your case. He stole the animal, and instead of selling it, to get money or to get something, he switched it with something else. He said, "You take this and give me something else." That's sort of a sale, also, right? Gonna vehichlef. He switched it with something else. More so than a check, because he actually got something.
Talking about exchange. It's called an exchange, right?
Correct. So is an exchange also considered a sale or not? The Gemara is going to say that it is considered a sale.
Now you take the animal, I'll take the chair or whatever.
Right. Correct. That's ganav v'hichli. Or ganav v'nosam b'matona. This is similar to the Higdish case, I guess. Instead of selling it, he gives it to someone else. Or ganav, I have to count how many cases there are. It's like 10 cases. Ganav upara as choyvoy. He paid off his own choiv that he owed someone money, so he paid it off with the thing that he stole. So he didn't sell it, he didn't give it to matana to someone else, but he paid up his gonav upora behekefoi. This is very similar to the para as choivoi, that he paid off what he yesterday bought on credit, so now he paid up for that credit. I'm not sure why this is different than para as chovot. It's not much the same. Yeah, I'm not sure why this, because he didn't make it a chov. Not sure. Okay, but the Brisa counts it as another case. Or gonav v'shalach sevloinois bebeis chomev. He's engaged. He has his wife. He has to give her a present to come to her birthday.
Right.
So he didn't have what to give her birthday, so he steals his para and he sends it to his rebbetzin for a present. So he gave her a present.
New in-laws look very thrilled. Yeah, on a cow with a ring. That's great.
Now that part also a big part of this business. So all these cases, the Brisa says, Meshalim tashlumi arba v'chamish. All these are considered a sale and it's considered giving, and he does pay tashlumi arba v'chamisha. So we had how many cases? We had one that he got his friend to shecht it for him. We had one that he got his friend to sell it for him. 3 is gonav higdish, that he was magdish el hashamayim. The 4th one was gonav hikif. He sold it on credit. He switched it with something else. That was case number 5. He gave it for a present. That's number 6. Para es choivoy. That's number 7. Para behekefo. He paid his tashlumim with it, or he sent it for a present. So there's 9 cases in the brisa, and it says that all of these is considered a sale, and it's mishalim tashlumi arba v'chamisha. Someone says Michael Mashmalan. And some of these are obvious. Now we saw not everything is so obvious, but at least the Gemara considers obvious. And the Gemara says of 2 of them, which the Gemara considers to be a chiddush. One is Ashmi'in on Reisha, the first case that we learned. Gonav v'nosan achav v'tovach. He gave it to someone else to be his shochet. So we would think
Not as a
that,
gift.
not as a gift, to be his shliach to do it. The yesh shliach l'dvar avero. This is a big chiddush. That usually, the ganav has to be the one to shecht it. Over here, he sent his friend to shecht it. Usually, we would say ein shliach l'dvar avero, and it's not considered that he was toveach. But over here, we're going to say it's considered that he was shochet, and yesh shliach l'dvar avero. Why? Afal gav de b'chol Torah kula. Ein shliach l'dvar avero. We always say ein shliach l'dvar avero. Halcha, by this halacha of tvichol mechira, yesh shliach l'dvar avero. My taimo, because the pasuk says either he slaughters it, he's toveach, or he sells it. Now everyone knows that every mechira you have to have someone else. There have to be other people involved. Ma mechira de loy efshar. It's impossible the lav al yedei acher not to have someone else involved in the sale. because he always is going to have a buyer. Av Tvicha is going to be chayav for tovach u'machar, even if it's a alidei acher mechayav. Even if there's someone else involved, meaning that he sent someone else to be toveach, he's still going to be, the ganav is still going to be chayav. Well, this is interesting because usually, if let's say the ganav sells it, so there's someone who's buying it. So we say there's someone else involved in the sale. It's true there's someone else involved in the sale, but he's not doing the umachar. In other words, the ganav is doing the umachar by himself. He needs someone else to be just at the back end that he should be able to sell it to. So it's a chiddush that the Gemara already calls this, that you have to have someone else involved.
Yeah, because most people don't know how to shech. So you're going to give it to somebody to shech. If you
Right, but the Gemara is not proving it from the shechita. The Gemara is proving it from the selling. That every sale also has someone buying it. So you always have more people involved in the parsha. It's a little of a chiddush to me.
Therefore, by Tvicha, even though someone else is involved, it's not usually
Right, but there's someone else involved at which end? When you sell it, there's no one else involved in the selling, in umucharo. Involved. It makes it possible for me, Ganav, to sell. So that's a chiddush that I would call that someone else involved in the sale.
What happens if there was a broker? That he was the one who.
But I guess that that every mocha has to have someone else involved. Once we say that you have to have someone else involved in your chayav, so now as many people as are going to be involved, we're still going to say that it's chayav. But we prove it.
and there's a took it, then nobody else would be involved.
Correct. But the Torah talks about the case of umacharo.
Yeah.
So the Torah is talking about a case that there's someone else involved. You're right. You would be able to have a case that there shouldn't be anyone else involved. But since the Torah talks about a case that has someone else involved, that still says that he's chayev, so we learn from that over here it's a special chiddush, that over here it's yesh shliach dvar avera, and the same thing now is going to be even by tovach, which could really be himself, that he steals it and he shechts it. And then over here we're going to say that even if he gave it to someone else to shecht it, he's going to be chayev because tovach al yedei acher. So that was one case which the Gemara sees a chiddush, and also Vashmiin on Seifa. It's not really the last case, but one of the end cases, Gonav V'Higdish. We said that he didn't sell it, he was maklish it. He gave it to Bedek Habayis, he gave it to Hegdish. So then we're also going to say, as we said earlier, Marli Machoroi Lehedyet, Mali Machoroi Lashamayim. There's no difference between when someone sells it to a plain person or when someone sells it or gives it over to Shamayim.
I would say someone's not.
So the Torah doesn't say that it has to be someone else involved. There's a chiddush that even when someone else is involved, still it's considered a machoro. I think if you would be able to do it, like I said, if you would be able to do it in a way that no one else is involved, then for sure he should be chayav. No, the Ganav is doing the same thing, that he's being moti and meshusay. Usually we say that if other people are involved, so we're not going to blame the Ganav, we're going to blame the other people also. And over here we say that even when there's other people involved, still we're going to blame Kaviyachol, the Ganav. So I guess Kal V'chomer, when there's no other people involved,
I'm amazed at Mitzvah that the Hektish could accept something
that's stolen. I say, oh, give it back. Maybe there's years.
So then I met in this case of things like how could something good come out of that?
But you think they're going to stand by the base of Mikdash and they're going to look?
No.
It's a question. Like, what's
Some
the?
states where how do you go?
Oh, well, let's say you find out that it was stolen. Let's say someone he gave it to Shemayim, then you find out that he was really stole it. So it's gonna stay by Hegdesh, like, or is it gonna go back? Maybe really it goes back. It's just a question if he's umucharo, maybe. In other words, let's say the guy steals something and he sells it, and now he's chayav dal v'hei, and now we're gonna find it by the lokeach. So maybe it's going to go back to the original Bible because this Ganav had no right or wasn't able to sell it. It's just that it's enough that he should be chayav dal v'hei. So it could be the same thing would be by Higdish.
Hektish should change its ownership, so I feel like how could it?
So maybe you think he just has to pay back, but who's going to pay? The Ganav's going to pay. I guess the Ganav will have to pay, but it could also be that it's not by him. There's a Mishnah. If someone recognizes his things his things were stolen. He had a sefer, and everyone knows that someone stole this sefer. And then we find someone else reading it, and he recognizes that it's really his. And we also recognize that it's his. So then we say that he has to give it back. He might have to reimburse him the amount that he
Learn from it.
No, not that he learned. The amount that he paid for it. Like you don't, the Mr. Buyer doesn't have to lose money. But there are Mishnayos, maybe even later in the Masechta, that talk about this.
We just got a call last week. I just picked up we lent it somewhere maybe 3, 4, 5 years ago. And then they finally realized that it had our names.
So you had to go pick it up.
It's not even Pesach.
Quotation over. He left it on the thing and I picked it up.
It's interesting. Like what if it's considered giving?
5 years ago.
I was reading something else in Papa. There's a pushka, that people put in some change by the coffee.
Right.
So the Gabba was emptying it. People, what do you think people put in? Nickels and pennies. And there was a penny from 1906, which was worth a lot of money. And the guy obviously didn't realize. He took it out of his pocket and just put it in. So nothing. So they hung up a sign, like if someone knows whose it is, they would return it. I was curious, like what's the halacha on something like that?
Also,
Someone put it in, he gave it. He might not have known it.
he didn't know he got it.
How did he get it? He got it from the supermarket somewhere.
He would probably be
idea.
Miyash, I would assume.
I'm sorry?
If-
Don't look at the.
I would assume that he would be
Right,
Miyash. If first of all, did he realize how valuable it was? And if he did, and then
He
he
probably didn't even realize that he had it.
I used to manage a
Yeah.
supermarket. We used to have coins, the nickels from before 1964.
Yeah,
And I used to get them every day.
Really?
Yeah,
The Buffalo.
because you get hundreds, not the Buffalo, but you get them every day because you're going through hundreds of coins and you would see them next to the other nickels that stick out. But people would spend them.
People spent it just like 5
They
cents.
don't realize it.
Interesting.
Here, he meant to give a penny. He didn't mean to
He
give.
didn't mean to give that, but
$1,000.
it's actually, he
So I
didn't,
think-
what do you mean he meant?
So
He,
would you take it?
You can put that in.
Yeah, everybody.
that's just interesting.
In the case-
Take it.
in the case of
Sorry?
Heck, where
Okay, yes.
it's not a sale, I thought we learned that there's a gezerah that you'd have to podeh it for something, so that people shouldn't think that something that's hektish can just be redeemed for nothing.
Correct, and that would be the halacha. But over here we're talking whether the gan of himself is going to be chayav dalad vehei as mechoroi. So we're saying that the fact that he was makdish it lashamayim, that's also considered that he was, he took it out of his rishus, and it's as if he sold it, and that's what it means. Mali mechoroi lahedit, mali mechoroi lashamayim. But you're right. Over here, the Gemara is not going into that. We had before a whole sugya. How do we now get it out of Hegdish? Oh, you mean because I said that Hegdish just gives it back to the owner. So they might be that he has to give some money to be poda. Now I understand what you're saying. Could be that you're right. I hear. I'm not sure. Okay, so that was that. Now we're going to continue the Mishnah, and we're still talking about the halacha of Daled of Tavach u'Machar. And now we're going to talk about a different case. And the idea over here is going to be that when someone steals it and then, let's say he resells it, or afterwards he goes and slaughters it, it has to be in a case that he already had stolen it before. Let's say he goes into someone else's rishus, and while he's in that person's rishus, even before he steals it, he's toveach. He slaughters it while he's in that person's rishus. In other words, it was never a geneva and then a tavach u'machar. So maybe it would be a kinyan, but there's no two stops. The shaila is, could he do it like sort of b'fasachas, or like together or something?
Didn't we do it with the slave when he got injured 2 ways? He had to pay, so it was like he got freed and paid. Isn't it? What is it?
Correct. Over there is such a halacha that it worked together. That it worked. I don't know, on the spot. Over there was also one right after the other.
Here
We
it's
were
almost
mistapek.
like
We weren't sure if it would happen at
you
the
knock
exact
out
same
the
second.
slave's tooth, and then you buy him.
But over here, what the pasuk says if someone steals it, he pays kefil, right? If afterwards he goes and he slaughters it, so he pays daled v'hei. What's going to happen if he slaughters it sort of without stealing? Of course, maybe the slaughtering itself will be the stealing, but he didn't steal it and then went to slaughter. So I'll spill the beans. The Mishnah says that you're not chayev daled v'hei.
You're not high out of the tape.
Also, the possible very clear.
I'm not sure, but maybe kefil, yes, but daled v'hei now.
Why shouldn't it be the other way around?
Because you didn't steal, and then the way of Tavach u'Machar is that he stole and sold. or shochet. And like you're not so bad, you even go and do even something more. But not that he just was still there.
But then we're calling it stealing.
What?
Which case?
We think it, right?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure about the. It says potter, but we'll see in a second. I'm not sure exactly what that means. Okay, so Gonav B'Rishus HaBaylan. This is going to be a case sort of he took it within the Rishus HaBaylan. The Hainu, he never really. No. Gonav B'Rishus HaBaylan. He was going of it when it was in the Rishus HaBaylan, and he took it out of the Rishus HaBaylan. And now the Tavach Umocha Chutz Mirishusam. By the time it was Tavach Umocha was already outside of the Rishus HaBaylan. So you had a Gneva, and then you have a Tavach Umocha.
What's unusual? What's
This is the no. We start with straight so far. So far. Oy shegonav chutz mirshusam. Then even if tavach umochar b'rishusam, the part was outside of the Bailam Rishus. He stole it over there. So now even if he goes back into the Rishus HaBailam and he's toveach umoicher, when he's in the Rishus HaBailam, he's going to be chayiv because when he took it outside of the Bailam Rishus, he already did a gneva. Now that he went back into the Rishus HaBailam, he didn't return it. He was going to sell. It's not considered returning. He himself now did it within the Rishus HaBailam, so he's still going to be chayiv, even though the Tavach Hamach was in the Rishus HaBailam. Why? Because he already had a gneva before he was shochet. Oy, this I guess is the simplest case. Shegonav v'Tavach Hamach chutz mirshusam. He did everything outside of the Rishus HaBailam. He was stole it outside of the Rishus HaBailam, so there was a real gneva, and then he was toveach u'moicher outside the Rishus HaBailam. So then he's mishalim tashlumi al Bava Kamma. Aval, this is really the point of the Mishnah. Okay. Aval, Gonav, Vitovach Umochar, Birshusam Potter. If he went into the Rishus Bailam and stole it, Kaviyachim. But till he leaves the Rishus Bailam, he wasn't coin yet. We'll see soon. Maybe he can make Kinyan Hagbah, but let's say he just, he takes it, Kaviyachim. So that's not really considered that you stole it yet. And then he was Toveach Umoicher when he's still in the Rishus HaBailam, so then he's Potter. This is basically the case that he went into the Rishus HaBailam and never really did a Maisa Gneva. He was just Shochet before the Gneva. So then he's not going to be Chayev Daled Vehe. He's not going to be Chayev Bava Kamma. And Shaul's asking, is that itself going to be considered that he stole it maybe? And then he should be Chayev Kefos. I'm not sure. Rashi says where?
What's going to be cool?
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be damages he's paying. Damage.
It's on a different case, but maybe
Thank you.
I think it's on right there. It could be it's going to be here too.
No, it depends how far you want to
Oh, Potter B'Shaloy, we have it, Connie.
That's on
I don't know. Tosis points out that this is only going to be in a case that he didn't make a kinyan, because even if when he's in the Rishus Bailam, if he would, let's say, pick it up, so then he's konet, he makes a gneva, even though he's in someone else's Rishus. But this is talking that he didn't actually go and pick it up. He was walking, he was schlepping it maybe. So that's not considered a kinyan. So there was no gneva, and then he was toveach u'mochar. So then he's potter. And now the Mishnah is going to.
You have to make a kingdom. That control.
Correct, but he doesn't have to pick it up. He could throw it down. That's not a kinyan, if he throws the baby down or holds it down.
Taking control.
I don't think so. It's not
If you
hakbah.
if you need a horse, you'll use that.
That's outside of the Rishus Bailam. But if you're in the Rishus Bailam and you lead him while he's still in his stable, so it's not considered a kinyan. Okay, now here's protum in this. He was schlepping it in the Rishus HaBailam, right? Going out, getting out to the door, and while he's schlepping it, it died. So
In the
in the Bailam's Rishus. So
Why does it say
he tried to
It says
steal it, but he
v'yotze.
didn't end up stealing it.
V'yotze sounds like he left the Rishus.
Right, but he was going out. He was schlepping it and taking it out, but he didn't actually get out because look, it was made Rishus HaBailam. It died when he was still within the Rishus HaBailam. He was on his way out, and then he died. after his whole breaking in, and this pink man had died. Potter. But if Higbio, if
So it's a sheep from one of the neighboring villages, and by the time we got to the corner, it died.
They let this up.
brother, Higbio, if he was Magbiait within the Rishus Bailam, so we said that the Hagba is considered a Kenyan even if he's in the Rishus Bailam. Oy hoitzio Rishus Bailam, he was schlepping it, but he managed to get it out of the Rishus Bailam, and then it died, Vames. So then Chayev, why? Chayev Gneva, because he had already taken it out of the Rishus Bailam, and he was already koine.
Excuse me, isn't I thought Mashiach is a Kenyan? Isn't Mashiach a
So
Kenyan?
Mashiach is a Kenyan, but Mashiach is only a Kenyan if it's outside of the Bailam's Rishus. If he's standing in the stable and he schleps the horse when it's in its own stable, so that's not considered a Kenyan yet. Only when you schlep it outside of the Bailam's Rishus.
Okay, very good.
I think that's the idea. Where, in contrast to Hagba, if he would pick up the sheep, then even if he's standing in the Bailam's Rishus, the Hagba itself would be considered a Kenyan, even if he's in the Bailam's Rishus. You could hear it, like it makes sense. It's Svara.
He's strong enough to pick it up. He deserves it.
Now, Nisanoi lebechoros benoi. Okay, so there's going to be two pshatim in the Gemara. I forgot which one the Gemara starts and what it ends. But one pshat is, let's say he tells the kohen, "Hey, I have to give 5 sloim because I had a newborn, and I have to give 5 sloim. So kohen, here, I have what to give you. Come with me." And he takes him and he gives him this sheep and says, "Here, you could take this." And the kohen's taking it, sort of b'shlichus of the ganav. That's going to be one of the cases. He says, I owe you $100. Come here, take this sheep. You could take it home. He was going to steal it, but he doesn't have time to now, to take care of this sheep. So he tells the Shem, come with me. I have to give you a sheep that you should watch for me. Which is a shomer sochar, and as they were schlepping it out, so if it died b'shus habaylam potter because there was no gneva yet, but higbioi, if the shliach of the ganav, the hainu, maybe he didn't know that he was stealing, but the kohen or the balchov or the shomer was magbiait, or he took it out of the rishus habaylim, chayev, he's already chayev to pay. Who's chayev to pay? We'll get to that. Who's chayev to pay? We could have two tzadim. Either the ganav is chayev to pay, and he made sort of a shliach for someone to steal for him.
Then I would assume that the person knows that they're stealing.
Okay. Or maybe the person who's taking it has to pay. So, but either way, the idea is that it's considered a chayev, that it's already considered out of the Rishos Ba'al. Rashi has two Malachim, and that's how Rashi goes in the end that the Ganav is going to be chayev. Maybe. I think the Gemara goes. Maybe the Gemara doesn't talk about it. I thought the Gemara talks about it. Maybe it's just two pshatim over here in Rashi. Over here.
And he still has to be poking his kid.
Huh?
And he still has to be poking his kid.
Yeah, because they didn't get it.
Then the coin would get it and survive. It would be considered pigeons.
Yeah. You're saying if someone's pulled himself with something that he stole, if he was koined b'gnei, well, maybe yeah. I think he has to maybe pay back. He has to give money back, but the sheep itself is his. And this is the second lashon Rashi. Lishna Achi, and Rashi soon says this ikar nisani ganav lebchoros benoi, and nisana lo sham b'mkoim shegonvu l'shem mechinam v'lashoyel. Fine. And then he says over here, Hai chayav aganav koi, the mechayev ganav bekinyan shluchav. And we get this further. Okay. Yeah.
They donate it to the community. The community will then bring it to the base.
Yeah, here we go. Wait, 1 second. I'm sorry. I just want to move the page. Okay. So that's the That's the Mishnah. So basically in the Mishnah we learned two things. We learned that there has to first be a gneva and then a tvicha mechira. If you do the tvicha before the gneva, so then it's not chayev. And also we learned that there has to be that there has, even if you were trying to steal it, if it ended up dying before you managed to steal it, you're not chayev. Boy yamimar. Here's now going to be a question. Tiknu meshicha b'shomrim oloi. Everyone knows that there's when someone buys something, so even though he paid for it, it's not considered his yet until he actually takes it. Even though could be that midoraisa minatora, the second he gives the kesef, he pays the money, it's already his. But the Chachamim said that it's not considered his until he takes it, until he makes meshicha. Now let's say someone gives something to the shomer. He tries to give something. He says, could you watch this for me? So when do you become the watchman that you should have all the chiyuvim of a shomer, that if you posheya or a shomer sach or even gneva v'avida, is it from when I tell you, okay, can you watch this sefer for me? Or only from when I give it to you, or you actually take the sefer to do it? Just like when buying it, there's a certain kind of kinyan called mashicha. They have to take the buyer, the koine has to take it into his rishos.
And until then,
So,
it's his.
and until then, it's not considered his. So too, it's not considered jurisdiction of the shomer, and the action. It's not enough that you should be chayav until you take it. That's what takes it into the jurisdiction of the shomer.
Here, now, are we talking about this Mashiach we're talking about is in the Baal?
Yeah, right. And it's to you to watch it.
Here we're talking about it's in the Rishus of the Baal.
I'm sorry?
Are we talking about that it's in the Rishus of the Baal? Because you said
So we're talking about Mashiach. So,
you said that Mashiach doesn't work.
yeah, so we're talking whenever Mashiach
I
would
want
work.
to watch my horse.
words,
I don't want him to have to take out the horse from the stable. I want him to watch it while it's in the stable.
Correct. So, but we're going to talk in a case that Mashiach would work. Let's say Moshcha, if you actually got out, whenever Mashiach would work, would that be considered a kinyan?
And the takana here would be
Not would that be considered a kinyan? I'm sorry.
we aren't here. We're
I'm
talking
sorry?
about when does the shmira start, and does the guy say, okay, I'm watching it, or does he have to do mashicha? Isn't that the question? And I'm asking, but here in this case,
Correct.
we're talking about in the rishus of the Baal.
And that's why it didn't work.
I don't know what the answer is. He just said yes or no, but I don't. Rashi said he's going to be chayav for watching it.
But I think the Gemara's question is going to be in a scenario that Mashiach does work, right? In other words, maybe not Bershus of the Bailam. It's going to be only outside. But in a case where Mashiach does work, do you need Mashiach for Shomrim to be chayav b'Shomrim or not?
Okay, so in other words,
Right.
I'm out in the Rishus Rabbi, and I have to go into the store. And so I asked my friend, can you watch this for me? And he says, okay. Then does he have to do Mashicha?
In order to become a showman.
Yeah, okay.
I think that's
You ask him to watch your car while you double park. He has to pull it up a couple feet.
fine. Omar Rav Yemir Toshima from our Mishnah. Let's see if we'll be able to figure out. Nesana lebchora is benoi. Now, the Gemara understands in the beginning that who's giving it to the Bechoros Benoi. So I explained in the Mishnah that the Ganev tells the Kohen, hey, listen, you go and take this sheep, and that will be what I'm giving you for Bechoros Benoi. Osek with his Gneva. So he gives it to the Shemer and he says, okay, you watch the thing that I'm giving. But the Gemara starts off differently. The Gemara understands that the son of B'choros B'noi L'Balchoivo L'Shem Yachinam is talking about the Bailam, a different case. In other words, there's someone who owns sheep, and he's giving it to a Shomer, and he gives it over to the Shomer, the son of L'Shem Yachinam, and then the Ganev steals it from the Shomer. And the question is going to be whether the Shomer has to pay up or not. So I'm not sure why the Gemara understood the case like that, because that like wouldn't have much to do with the Mishnah. Like the whole Mishnah is always talking about the Ganav, it's considered B'Shusa already or not. But the Gemara understands that the Ganav stole it from this Shomer. And the question is, was the Shomer already mitchayev to have to pay up for something which was stolen from him? Understand what I'm saying? The Balabayas,
Shoulder responsibility.
correct. The Balabayas has a sheep. He's giving it over to the Shomer to watch. The Ganav steals it from this guy who's becoming the Shomer. And is he already responsible for it or not? And that's what the Gemara is going to bring a raya from Hoya Moshcha V'Yoytze. Let's see. Toshaman, the son of the Bechor is Benoi, Olabal Choyvoi, L'Shomer Chinam V'Lashoya L'Nois Zacha V'Lasoicher, Hoya Moshcha V'Yoytze. The Shomer was in the middle of schlepping it, in the middle of getting the thing, Umeiz B'Shus Abaylim, and it died before the Shomer had a Mashiach, Potter, so he doesn't have to pay. So you see that even though I already told the Shomer, can you please watch it for me? And he tried to do Mashiach, but it didn't work as Yaakov, as you said, because over here it's still Mashiach in the Rishus HaBailim, so he didn't have Mashiach yet. And it says that the Shomer is not responsible. He doesn't have to pay for this Gneva. Why not? He was the Shomer. He already told him, please watch my animal, because he didn't have yet Mashiach. He wasn't Mekabel Achrayus of the Shmira with Mashiach yet, because he was only Moshe B'Shus HaBailim when the Mashiach doesn't work. My lav, what does the Mishnah mean when it says potter? Lav, doesn't it mean that the Shomer is potter from paying? Ushma mina, tiknu Mashiach b'Shomrim, that the Chacham said that the Shomer is not going to be chayav, he's not going to have the responsibility of watching it until he actually does Mashiach that works. That's how the Gemara understands the Mishnah of Mesarei L'Shomer Chinam. Again, that the Bailam was giving it to the Shomer, and someone stole it from the Shomer, and it says over here in the Mishnah that he's potter because the Shomer never became a Shomer yet, because he never did Mashiach. Amalei, Loi, that's not the case. That's the whole thing. Ganav, the Ganav is potter, which really means now we have to change the whole case. That it's not that the Bailam was giving it to the Shomer. The Ganav was decided to steal it, and he told the Shomer, please take it for me. And that's how we explained that the Mishnah is going to be potter till he makes a kinyan of the Gneva. But maybe a Shomer becomes chayav in the Shmir even without actually doing Mashiach, just by, saying that he's going to watch it.
Showing up for work.
Right. But the Ganav is not going to be chayav until he does the Mashiach. So now the Gemara says, 1 minute, that we already had in the first half of the Mishnah. Hatani Le'Reisha, we had this in the beginning of the Mishnah. Ganav shegonav mi beis habaylim. No, sorry. Hatani Le'Reisha. Hatani Le'Reisha, we had in the beginning of the Mishnah that the only time the Ganav is going to be chayav tavachol malcha is only after he already makes a kinyan geneva. If he was Moshe V'Yoytze, if he was in the middle of taking it out, and it died before he got out, so then he's potter. So now you have to say also if he gave it to the shomer and schlepping it out, it's the same thing. Someone says, no, Tana, 2 cases. Tana Ganav Shagonav mi beis Abaylam, Tana Ganav Shagonav mi beis shomer. 1 minute. What does it mean? You was understanding the case differently, that the Ganav is taking it now from the shomer's house. The Gemara, I'm sorry, the Gemara is not told that the Ganav told the Shomer to take it instead of him. The Gemara understands the case is that the Ganav went to the base Hashomer. The Bailam, I'm sorry, retract, delete a little bit. The Bailam went back, the Bailam went and gave it over to Shomer Chinam. The Ganav now goes into the Shomer Chinam's house and takes it from there. And while he's schlepping it out, it dies before he crosses the threshold, before he gets out, and he's still going to be potter. So again, it's mama's the same case. I'm thinking stealing it from the shomer. His mama's steal. It's the exact same case. Be'etzem. The shaila is, when does the ganav become chayav in the gneva? You can ask mama's the same case, but the Gemara says that that's 2 cases. Okay, Atana L'Reisha, Atana Ganav Shagonav mi beis habaylim, Atana Ganav Shagonav mi beis shomer. that not that the shomer was schlepping it out of the Beis Habaylim, but the Ganav went into the Beis HaShomer, he was taking it out, and on his way out, it died. So it's mamish the same case. Don't answer like that. That doesn't make sense that the Mishnah should say two cases which are so similar. Mali Ganav Shagonim Beis Shomer, Mali Ganav Shagonim Beis Habaylim. The Mishnah wouldn't say two separate cases that the Ganav is stealing it from the Bailam or he's stealing it from the Shomer. That's the exact same case. Elolav, it's talking like we said in the beginning, that it's talking that the Shomer was in the middle of taking it from the Bailam's Rishus, and as long as he didn't take it, he didn't make Mashiach into his own Rishus, he's not Chayev for the Geneva. Ushmamino tiknu Mashiach b'Shomrim, Shmamino. Like we started off, that the Shomer was taking it to be Mitchayev b'Shmira, but until he actually does a Kinyan, he's not responsible for the Shmir. Shmamino. I'm sorry? Yes.
I thought that Shomer Chinam is only Chayav for Peshia and not for Geneva. So how does that fit into this?
Correct. And that's why the Potter, what does it say by us? I guess that Chayav will mean only whichever Shomer is going to be Chayav, meaning a Shomer Sachar, a Shoyel, but
Mishnah gave the case. If you look at the second wide line, why does it say L'Shomer Chinam? Why did it give that case?
if we're talking over here that the Ganav stole it from him, he's not going to be Chayav in that. 1 minute. Maybe with Koshea. I hear what you're saying. 1 minute. I'm not sure. I hear. He's saying that what we're talking over here are a case also of Shemachino. And Shemachino is potter on Gneva. If we're talking that the Ganav steals it from the Shemachino, right? And the question was whether the Shemachino already was Mekabel Achrayus of Shmira or not. Right? That's what we're saying. The Chayev doesn't mean the Ganav is going to be Chayev. Chayev means the Shomer is going to be Chayev. And the Mishnah is talking whether the Shomer already got the Chiyuv Shmira or not. So why did it say that a Shemachino is Chayev? We're talking about the case that someone stole it from or died even. That's even Oinsim.
It says Shemachin?
Yeah. Look at the Mishnah. It says that he gave it also to the Shemachinam. And the Chayr Shemachinam is not going to be Chayev. I hear. I don't know. Not sure. He doesn't finish it through that.
Careless.
Maybe if he was careless, but there was a pshi over here. He didn't watch it.
Really, you're just trying to learn now when he becomes responsible.
And you're gonna have to say that in Shemachinam, it's like only going to be responsible in a case that he was posheya, that he didn't watch it. Maybe you hear Rabbi Yaakov?
Yeah, I hear.
That we spoke about all the shomer because we want to tell you when the shomer become, when it becomes really his responsibility to be shomer. And then by your shemachinam, we're gonna have to say that it's talking in a case that he was negligent and he didn't watch it the way he was supposed to.
Okay.
Okay.
They're including the
Either way, itmar nami.
We're not for the Geneva. Okay.
Right. Itmar nami, like we're saying over here, that tiknu mashiach b'shomrim. Omar Blazar, Kederech shetiknu Mashiach b'lakochos, just like the Chachamim were mitakein Mashiach by buying something that it's not considered his until he actually does Mashiach. Kach tiknu Mashiach b'shomrim. And Tanya Nami Yochi, another brisa. Before, I guess it was Itmar Nami, it was a Blazer ben Ptos, the Amuro. And now we're bringing a brisa. Tanya Nami Yochi, Kederech shetiknu Mashiach b'lakochos, just like Chachamim were mitakein that Mashiach by buying something. And another thing the Brisa says, Agav, everyone knows that the Mishnah says how karka is niknas either with giving money or with writing a paper that he bought it or with making a chazaka, not other parts. Kachskirus, renting, else also have the same kinyonim. This is mamish parentheses. This has nothing to do with us. This is just because the Brisa already spoke about that kashem shetiknu mashiach v'lakochos kach tiknu mashiach b'shomrim, so it gives us a little bonus that kashem she'akarka niknes b'kesef b'shtar b'chazaka kach schirus niknes b'kesef b'shtar b'chazaka. Schirus has the same kinyanim. And the Gemara says schirus demai. Ileim is chirus de metaltalim. Metaltal ibnei shtarin or metaltal is not nikne with shtar. Metaltal is nikne with other kinyonim, with kesef and with meshicha and with tagba, but not with shtar. So we're talking over here the schiru of karka. Amavchis the schiru is the karka, and we said that just like the buying of karka is with kesef shtar and chazaka, so too the renting of karka is with kesef shtar or chazaka. But that again, that has nothing to do really with us. That's mamish a bonus. The main thing we wanted to talk about was that the chiyuv shmira of the shomer also comes also with meshicha, and not just that he designated it for the shomer to watch it. And it's a little bit of a chiddush to me that it would come into the mission over here. Because if we were talking like what we said, that we're talking about when the Ganav becomes chayev, right? That he sent the shomer, so then we understand how it comes into this Mishnah. But if we're just talking about the shomer, when the shomer is chayev for gneva, that should be in the halachas of shomrim. It doesn't really have so much to do with the Mishnah over here, but that's how the Gemara understands this Mishnah. The Gemara is right that there's Mashiach b'shomrim also. Okay, so that's that for the daf of today. Let me stop the recording here. Thank you.